Hello to everyone. We are going to start with the chemical coordination and integration. And now, uh, like you are looking here, the hypothalamus, the key words which are displaying on the slides, which are hypothalamus, growth hormone, and prolactin. And the title is the ultimate command and release and inhibiting protocols. The hypothalamus sits at the base of the brain and it acts as a supreme command center of the endocrine system. It does not directly release hormones in the blood. Instead, it controls the pituitary, which in turn controls nearly every other endocrine glands in the body. This is why the pituitary is called the master gland. But remember, it is the hypothalamus that the master's master. Here, the slide shows the hypothalamus pituitary axis, chemical versus physical pathways. Uh, the hypothalamus does not have a direct nerve connection to the anterior pituitary. Instead, it communicates chemically through a specialized network of the blood vessels called the hypophyseal portal system. The thalamic release hormones such as the TRH, CRH, GnRH, GHRH, and somatostatins are secreted in these portal vessels and carried directly to the anterior pituitary where they stimulate or inhibit the release of specific hormones. The anterior pituitary is a true endocrine gland. It synthesizes its own hormone. Growth hormone, TSH, ACTH, LH, FSH, and prolactin. The posterior pituitary is completely different. The hypothalamus is physically connected to the posterior pituitary through nerve axons. This is direct axonal transport, not chemical signaling. The two key hormones, oxytocin, which triggers uterine contraction and milk ejection, and ADH, antidiuretic hormone, vasopressin, which controls water reabsorption, are synthesized in the hypothalamus. Travel down the itself travel down the axons and are stored in the release by the posterior pituitary gland. Okay, this is a critical distinction. The posterior pituitary is essentially a storage and a release depot. It does not synthesize a hormone of its own. Okay, now this is the mechanism of hormone action. A hormone is a message, but how the message is depends entirely on its chemistry. Okay, some hormones knock on the door and wait for a reply. Other walk straight in, and rearrange the furniture. Let us understand both. There are two types of hormones: water soluble and fat soluble. Hormones like epinephrine, glucagon, insulin, GH, LH, FSH, ACTH, ADH, oxytocin are water soluble, as they are protein or peptide hormone. Because they are hydrophilic, they can't cross the phospholipid bilayer. They must communicate with the cell from the outside. Like, this is your cell membrane. Like, this is your cell membrane. So they can they go here. They can't cross it because they are hydrophilic in nature. So this barrier is hydrophobic in nature, so they can't allow these hormones to cross it. Okay, they bind to the surface receptor here, like this. And so receptor, and these surface receptor are transmit their signals. Okay, so the binding triggers the internal cascade. The hormone is the first messenger, so this hormone is considered as a first messenger. And a molecule produced inside after the signal is called secondary messengers. Generally, CAMP are like one of those signals. Okay, so, and here you can see it is a this is the entry and signaling pathways of of lipid soluble hormones like steroid T3, T4. Okay, so like here they can cross it. Okay, they does not need some kind of barrier like receptor here. Okay, so and these are the it is a first messenger, and the signals these generate the secondary messenger, so they can transfer and causes the activation of other pathways. Okay, so uh, like IP3 and CA3 pathways. Okay, like cortisol, aldosterone, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and T3, T4 are lipid soluble. They diffuse freely across the cell membrane, enter into the cell directly. Inside the cell, they bind to the intracellular receptors. The hormone receptor complex then enters the nucleus and bind to the specific DNA nucleus. Here they enter and bind to the enter to the nucleus and bind to the DNA. Okay, here like this. Okay, and directly controlling the gene expression. So by this they are directly involved in the gene regulation, expression regulation. This means they regulate which protein the cell produce, causing the long lasting profound cell changes. So this slide showing the secondary messenger cascade which are involved in the which are involved for the hydrophilic signaling, are those hormones which are protein or peptide in nature. They can't cross the barrier, so there are two type of pathways they activate. Okay, first one is CAM pathway. Into this the surface after when after the ligand bind to the receptor, it activates the G protein. Now this G protein activates the adenyl cyclase. This adenyl cyclase convert ATP into CAMP. Now this CAMP activates the prokinase A, and this protein kinase A will activate or initiate the chain of cellular responses. There is a second pathway for that, which is alternative pathway. Into this, the after the ligand binded to the cell receptor, it will activate G protein. This will activate the phospholipase C instead of adenyl cyclase. Okay, here like this, and this will generate the IP3, IP3 and inositol phosphate 3, and this will activate or trigger the massive calcium release from the endoplasmic reticulum, more profoundly called as sarcoplasmic reticulum, and this will generate cascade of event of cellular responses. Now this slide shows thyroid gland and its function. Okay, so your this is a butterfly shaped gland which is sit behind sit in your neck like this. Okay, okay, for and releases some hormones. The hormones mainly produced are T3, which is a triiodothyronine, uh, T4 thyroxine. T4 is a primary hormone secreted, but T3 is a significantly more potent. Peripheral tissues convert T4 into T3. These convert T3 into T4, T4 into T3. Okay, the third hormone is a calcitonin. Okay, third hormone is calcitonin. This will lower the blood calcium level. Okay, means when you they will cause the in your bones there are some cells which causes the bone formation. Okay, they causes the bone formation, so for this they need calcium. So from where they will get the calcium? Brain signals your thyroid gland to release these calcium by secreting the calcitonin. This calcitonin will decrease the blood calcium, as this will move the blood calcium into the osteoclast. Okay, osteoclast, always remember osteoblast. Okay, like how they do, Osteoblasts, they will involve into the formation of bone, and osteoclast, they will involve in the bone breakage. Okay, so always remember this osteoclast activity is inhibited by these calcitonin. Okay, and promoting the osteoblast activity. Okay, now the function of T3 and T4, they will regulate the basal metabolic rate, support the RBC formation, control the control the normal heart rate and cardiac output. They also regulate the water and the electrolyte balance. There is a synergism between with the growth hormone for the protein synthesis. Now the control of the thyroid. Okay, okay, okay. Like a control our negative feedback axis. Look here. Okay, in case of hypothyroidism means when the thyroid level is low in your body, and in case of hyperthyroidism means it is quite high, which is required to maintain the basal metabolic rate. Okay, basal level are called the homeostasis, which is above the homeostasis level. Okay, so when it is come well below the normal level, it will cause cretinism, which is a congenital hypothyroidism resulting in a severely stunted growth and a mental retardation in the child onset. And in adults, it will cause myxedema, which is a severe adult hypothyroidism. Symptoms: puffy features, fluid retention, weight gain, low BMR. Okay, and it is if it is high in children, so it will cause Graves' disease, which is an autoimmune hyperthyroidism. Symptoms includes exophthalmos, protruding eyeballs, dramatic increased BMR, and weight loss. And in adults, iodine deficiency driven massive TSH overproduction resulting in the physical gland enlargement. Okay, now the adrenal gland. So this is the gland which is responsible to fight, fight, fly, or fright. Okay, these responsible 3F are regulated by these adrenal gland. Okay, so for this, so you are looking like it contains three zones. Okay, the outer one is zona glomerulosa. Okay, this will produce mineralocorticoids. Okay, or better called aldosterone. This will involve uh, it acts on the distal tubule of the kidney, and the collecting duct of the kidney. It increases the expression of sodium potassium ATPase pump, promoting sodium resorptions and potassium excretion. Means it will like reserve the sodium and excrete out the potassium. Okay, and water follow sodium osmotically. Okay, means it causes the water absorption as well in the body, which will increase the blood volume, therefore blood pressure. Okay, the blood volume get increased, and thereby the blood pressure will also get increased. Secretion is triggered by RAS system. Low blood pressure, renin, low blood triggered by the RAS system. What is RAS system? When your body is feeling low amount of blood pressure, this if you are having low BP. Okay, in the condition of low BP, your body signal it to the renin to release, and this renin will release the angiotensin 2, and this will causes the release of aldosterone. Okay, so this aldosterone is supplied or increased by the angiotensin 2, which is triggered by renin, and which is triggered by low blood pressure in your body. Then after this layer is showing the zona fasciculata, which produces the glucocorticoid or cortisol. Do you know what is cortisol? It is also called as a stress hormone. Okay, so this cortisol. Okay, sorry. So this cortisol, okay, is a primary stress hormone. As I have told, it is a key. The key action include the gluconeogenesis, means raising the blood glucose by any means of with you by using any biomolecules. It is anti-inflammatory in nature and immunosuppressive effects. Protein catabolism in muscles and fat mobilization. Cortisol prepares the body for sustained stress, not the immediate emergency response but the prolonged physiological adjustment. Okay, so now the adrenal medulla, the inner region. The medulla is essentially specialized nerve tissue, a modified sympathetic ganglion. It secretes the catecholamine. Okay, catecholamine, do you know? Like adrenaline, noradrenaline. Okay, so they trigger the three responses: fight, flight, and fright. Okay, so this will increases um, this will causes increase in heart rate, increase in blood pressure, bronchodilation, pupil dilation, increased blood glucose via glucogenolysis, and reduce the digestion. They act within a second and prepare the body for the immediate physical action. Like I have to add one thing: adrenaline and noradrenaline, which are catecholamine, are water soluble. Okay, so they act via the secondary messenger. Okay, these are water soluble, so they act by secondary messengers. And okay, so they are having very rapid short lived effect, unlike the steroid hormone of the cortex, which produces slower long lasting effects. Okay, so now the ADH versus aldosterone. Both ADH and aldosterone increases the water reabsorption in kidney. Like here. Okay, so I am here clearing the things. Like ADH, do you know what it is? Are you getting it? No. uh, okay. uh, Origin. Like ADH is synthesized in hypothalamus within your brain, and aldosterone is synthesized in your kidney, better in zona glomerulosa. Okay, where it was the outer periphery layer of the kidney. Okay, so trigger, like the ADH, which is a vasopressin, is triggered by high blood osmolarity or dehydration. Okay, and aldosterone is triggered by low blood pressure via the RAS system mechanism. Like insert the aquaporin or water channel. Okay, and it activates the sodium potassium pump, ATPase pump. Okay, what actually moves? Pure water reabsorb, no salts, no solutes in the response of ADH. Okay, and because aquaporin channels are like water channels, so they are responsible for water resorption only, no solute. Okay, and the aldosterone, this will causes the resorption of sodium only, and water follows passively. Okay, then Okay, so the net result is increased blood volume, no change in total body sodium. Okay, and aldosterone, net result is increased blood volume with increased sodium retention in your body. Okay, now the master list. Okay, it will show the comparison of insulin versus glucagon, the blood glucose antagonist. Insulin secreted in your beta cells, which is the beta cells of the islets of Langerhans. This will this will causes low blood sugar in your body, which promotes the glucose uptake by the cell, and this will causes the glycogenesis, uh, lipogenesis, and lipogenesis means lipogenesis, like this will causes, are you getting it, like insulin, this will causes the hypoglycemic state of any cell. Okay, by promoting the uptake of glucose by the cell, means it triggered the cell to absorb the glucose. Okay, so it will increases the glycogenesis, means glucose to glycogen formation, and lipogenesis, glucose to lipid formation by some other pathways. Okay, and glucagon is causing increased hypoglycemic state, means increased blood glucose level. So they will trigger the cells to release glucose in the blood flow. Okay, so they will increases promote the glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis. Together they maintain the blood glucose between 70 to 110 plus milligram per deciliter through the minute to minute adjustment. Pair 2, PTH versus calcitonin, blood calcium antagonist. PTH, which is a parathyroid hormone. Okay, this will secreted this will secreted by parathyroid glands. This will increases the blood calcium level by stimulating osteoclast, means bone breakdown, and causes calcium release in blood. Increasing calcium, and further it will causes kidney to reabsorb the calcium. Okay, and activating vitamin D, which causes increased gut absorption of calcium. Okay, so and calcitonin will causes secretion. It is secreted by the parafollicular C cells of thyroid glands. This will decrease the blood calcium by inhibiting the osteoclast activity, promoting bone calcium reposition in the bone. Parathyroid is a dominant regulator. Calcitonin play a secondary role, protective role against the hypercalcemia. Okay, now atrial natriuretic factor. ANF is secreted by the cardiac muscle cell in the arteria of the heart where the arterial pressure is high. Okay, indicating excess blood volume. It is the only major hormone that lowers the blood pressure by causing vasodilation, increasing sodium excretion by natriuresis by the kidney, and inhibiting renin, aldosterone, and ADH release. What it does? ANF is secreted by, in your heart there is a cardiac muscle which causes the release of ANF in the atria when the blood pressure is high. When the blood pressure means blood volume is high. Okay, and this will reduces or lowers the blood pressure by causing the vasodilation. Okay, Increasing the sodium excretion causes the kidney to excrete out the excess calcium, so the water is also got get excreted out, and inhibiting the renin and aldosterone and ADH release. Okay, as AN, so always remember, ANF is a vasodilator as it opposes the action of aldosterone, ADH, angiotensin, and adrenaline, all of which raises the blood pressure. Okay, so by this, I am completing this presentation. Thank you for listening. Thanks.